She had just told her husband she was done. Not screaming, not crying, just quiet words spoken in the dark, in the warm water of their garden hot tub, minutes after they'd come home from a night out. He didn't argue. He didn't raise his voice. He waited. 13 minutes later, in a garden where their two sons slept just feet away, Georgiou pushed his wife under the water and held her there until she stopped fighting. He waited 40 minutes before calling for help. He told paramedics he found her unconscious. He told the hospital he passed out. He deleted footage from hidden cameras he'd secretly installed around their home. For months, he sat across the dinner table from his children and let them believe their mother's death was a tragic accident. This is the story of Georgiou. Not just how she died, but who she was before that night. A woman who spent 24 years building a family, surviving a trauma most never speak of, and quietly trying to reclaim a life of her own. Carol grew up as one of 6 sisters in a family the court would describe as loud, close, and deeply bonded. Her sisters were her closest confidants, the people she messaged constantly, the people she turned to when things got hard. Friends remembered her as fun, glamorous, warm, and endlessly kind. She could walk into a room and change its energy. She had a gift for making ordinary moments feel special. Those who knew her described her as her son's biggest supporter, always present, always proud. But Carol carried something heavy from her past. Early in her relationship with Andrew, she confided that she had survived abuse as a child. It was one of the first real intimacies of their relationship, a secret she trusted him with before almost anyone else. That trust would matter enormously years later when it was tested, and in Carol's eyes, failed. In 2017, the man who abused Carol was finally brought to trial. Carol chose to support the prosecution, a decision requiring immense courage and emotional exposure. It reopened wounds from her childhood at the moment she needed Andrew to hold her steady. Instead, Andrew disengaged. He didn't grasp what she was going through. Carol felt abandoned. That feeling lodged itself into the marriage and quietly poisoned it for years afterward. From that point, the relationship began to change beneath the surface. Carol started to feel invisible inside her own marriage, unheard, at times belittled, not given the time or respect she needed. She still loved Andrew. She still respected him as a father. She was still physically attracted to him. But she began writing in a diary about her doubts, attending counseling, and confiding more in her sisters about a growing sense that something essential was missing. Money became one of the battlegrounds. Andrew believed Carol spent too freely. Carol felt his frugality was suffocating. She eventually got a job, a step toward independence that Andrew encouraged, even as he controlled the larger share of finances. It was one of many contradictions that defined him. Warmth in one moment, distance in the next. By late summer 2023, the marriage reached a breaking point neither was hiding. The family home was on the market. Andrew faced possible redundancy. Their conversations preserved in text messages were not explosive. They were sad, practical, low-key. They discussed custody arrangements and dividing finances. It was the quiet language of two people who understood the marriage was ending. Then, in November 2023, Carol reconnected with Dan Jarvis, an old family friend. It slowly became an affair, limited in scope, some messages and a handful of meetings across 10 months. But its emotional significance was enormous. Carol, known for her devotion, was consumed by guilt. Dan made her feel seen and heard in a way she no longer felt with Andrew. Andrew suspected something was wrong, Instead of confronting Carol directly, he turned to surveillance. He installed a tracking device on her car. He repositioned a security camera in the roof space facing the bathroom. He placed another camera in the living room. He phoned a hotel pretending to be Dan Jarvis, confirming a reservation and asking how many beds were in the room. Later, he followed Carol on a date and confirmed she was seeing Dan. The next day, Andrew confronted her. He moved Carol out of the main bedroom into a smaller box room. He put a lock on the door of his new room. He told Carol's sisters and their children about the affair. He filed for divorce. The court saw this not as ending the marriage, but as a calculated attempt to frighten Carol back to him. For a while, it seemed to work. Something shifted in Andrew. The man who stewed in silence became attentive. He took Carol on dates. He complimented her. He asked desperately how he should behave, what she needed. But for Carol, it was disorienting, not reassuring. She appreciated some attention, but found it uncomfortable. She understood Andrew had only become the husband she needed when he saw another man wanting her. The court would later say it was too much and too late. By October 2024, Carol made her decision internally. She told her counselor she was resolved to move on. The house, after 18 months on the market, finally attracted a serious offer. On October 31st, the day before her death, Carol confirmed she was choosing to leave. The following night, November 1st, Carol and Andrew went to Milton Keynes and spent the evening at a club. Both drank, Carol more heavily. They returned around 1:50 a.m., Carol visibly unsteady. Their sons were asleep upstairs. After 2 a.m., Carol went into the garden and got into the hot tub. Andrew joined her. A neighbor's Ring camera picked them talking quietly. There was no argument. Carol was heard laughing, a sound the court described as consistent with a relaxed moment. Some words were audible, including what may have been Carol saying, "We're done." At approximately 2:17 a.m., the audio captured violent splashing sustained for several minutes, then silence. Andrew had submerged Carol and held her under. She fought back. Scratches later found on his body were caused by Carol struggling to survive. Drowning an adult fighting for life takes sustained effort. Time during which Andrew could have stopped, could have let her go, could have pulled her back. He did not. For 40 minutes, he did not call for help. Security footage showed him moving around the house, then remaining still. When he dialed emergency services, he said he found her unconscious. Paramedics noted he was not performing CPR. Before the ambulance left, Andrew accessed the app controlling his hidden cameras, removing his access to footage. One camera was never recovered. He reviewed CCTV while riding beside his dying wife. At the hospital, his story evolved. He claimed he passed out and woke to find her dead. The judge called it a cynical and dishonest account of what he tried to frame as a sudden, unexplained drowning. The scratches on Andrew couldn't be explained away. Carol's sisters noticed inconsistencies and contacted police. Andrew took his sons to stay with Sarah, then drove to a hotel and threatened to jump, eventually talked down. For over a year, he insisted he was innocent. Investigators reconstructed the CCTV timeline, extracted deleted data, and matched his injuries to a struggle. Andrew's defense tried to blame Carol's undiagnosed heart condition, delaying proceedings. Only in December 2025 did he plead guilty to murder. On March 24, 2026, he received life with a minimum of 16.5 years. Carol was known as the Flamingo. Her sisters wore flamingo scarves outside court. She was one day from freedom. She didn't get the chance to finish.